The Hebrew text in the Bible has hidden formats. By revealing these formats, I will prove the first writer's words were hidden from you. These formats look like poetry as I group them into small paragraphs. Their grouping will become known as a psalm, and together they become psalms. Let me show you our Creator's 12 commandments, listed in Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17. Any father of a family or his wife who did not obey any one of these 12 commandments, our Creator demanded they bring him a sin offering. Thus, our Creator defined the word sin as not obeying any one of these 12 commandments. Next, I want to show you how I changed one word in Exodus 26, verse 26, the word bars to arches, and the words now reveal the style of the roof for our Creator's tent for meeting with Him. Let me show you the translator's words from the preface of the 1611 King James Bible. They gave 4 reasons for themselves or others to edit the Bible's words. The red arrow at the top points to their 3rd reason to edit the text. By the light and feeling we attained unto ourselves. The next red arrow down points to them giving the title, the Divine, to a clerk named Gregory. The next block of words, they point out they were happy that the first emperor of Rome established the year to the course of the sun. Behind this text means Nebuchadnezzar ordered his kingdom to follow our Creator's calendar when he stopped eating grass. Did you notice the letter S in sun is capitalized? This is to give respect to the Egyptian sun god Ra. Have you seen the Egyptian obelisk in the Vatican's front yard? The last arrow points to your reward for studying the Bible. Your reward is to have a fellowship with the saints and participation of a heavenly nature that will never fade away. There is no such thing as nature to a truthful Christian. Our Creator created everything. By their own words, they were not seeking to know our Creator or Jesus. Not everyone has the knowledge to correct every word. I have an old Bible program that has the New American Standard Bible 1977 concordance to help find a better word. Their concordance has the number of times they use that English word in a parenthesis for that Hebrew word. The translators removed his name, YHVH, to put in 2 titles, Lord and God. I replaced those titles using the letters Y and V as his name, for the Hebrew language does not have a J, O, or W. By using these 2 letters, I am closer to the truth than anyone using J, O, or W for his name. So why is there a single letter O in the Hebrew text 1,095 times? No proper English was used? The blue highlighted text is text that I am removing. The red highlighted words are little words that I'm adding. Gray italic words are words that I added. To respect and honor our Creator, all capital letters in purple are our Creator's words. This is Jesus' prophecy, for I am revealing the first writer's words to tell you the true truths about Jesus. As the text is revealed, you can taste the writer's style of wording. Their words will take your belief to trusting our Creator. You will be watching prophecy before your eyes as I edit true truths back into their psalms. All right, I'm going to get started. And good day from, oh, you're on Twitch. Okay, real good. Yes, I remember your name there. Sorry about that. I guess I'll just call you Tad. I want to review what I went over in Jeremiah 30, chapter 31. I only found this much text, but what's interesting, most of what I found here went to this verse here, seems to go with this verse here, which is kind of odd that I can't remember too many times that one chapter goes to the next chapter. But anyways, I'm going to get started today if my voice will hold out. Let's see, Jeremiah here. When I start these, I'd like to try to introduce you to Jeremiah and who he is. Jeremiah is a prophet at the time of Josiah. He's there during Jehoiakim's time and Zedek's time. And he is left on the land, or left in the what is known as the remnant of the people within the land, but now they are under Babylon's control. So to understand this, the text is jumping around back and forth and all over the place. And it was only chapter 30 that we started really getting like after they had been taken away into captivity. And now we're coming back here in 32, and this seems like this is the story of when Zedekiah here, the king, he's a bad king, so I also helped us out by getting rid of a little bit of text here on his name. And what he is here is, this is starting off in the 10th year. Now, I don't think there's been a text other than just his name being mentioned to tell us what year. So 10th year. And what happened is this is going to be in the 5th year when actually they're going to be conquered. I believe that's sometime. So the text I'm hoping is going to start telling us boy, what a bad start today. The destruction of Israel. So this is going to be like talking, or the times of Jeremiah, what had happened to him in this 10th year. So words, I have to say our Creator speaks more than one word, so I have to add the word S. Came, we have to have this, to Jeremiah from YV in the 10th year for Zedek, I'll just call him Zedek, and I'll put our king. Now, I'm not going to use, for Judah, we know the kingdom of Judah is the only one around there. Israel's been gone for 100 years. So now, if I break this tells us the time that Zedek is our king. And it was going to have to add those two to smooth it out. This here is 10 and 8 would mean that's how Israel would, or how Hebrews wrote numbers at that time. They didn't have the number 18. It was the 10 and 8th year for Nebuchadnezzar. Now we know who Nebuchadnezzar is. He's the king for Babylon. But the thing here is I've done the studies on his time of life, and it's hard to say that this here is true. It's probably just going to end up being the 8th year, because he's around after the time that Daniel is there, and it seems like a basic timeline for him in Jerusalem, in Babylon, is going to be roughly about 40 years. So how old can a guy be there? So if he's 40 and 18, now he's, like he was in his 18th year. He doesn't begin as a king immediately when he's born, so they got him at 60. I got him at 58. So if he was a king, say at like 14, I've all of a sudden got him up over the age of 70, which is very rare at that time. So just to let you know about the numbers. Now, Now, at that time, the army for Babylon has to be changed to 4. 4 Babylon. Now, the the problem with the word besieging Jerusalem, the Chaldeans were among the people besieging Jerusalem. So you have to understand that when the word Chaldeans come up, and they are, let me show you who the Chaldeans are so you've got an idea of. This is Babylon as far as I know, and because the Euphrates River is like 5 cars, you got to get on a bridge before you cross the water, is kind of a dividing line, but the Chaldeans lived along this strip here. And this is only a couple miles wide because this is the Sahara Desert. So so I think what they did was just said, okay, we're with you, but you don't need to conquer us. We aren't going to go through the fighting. We see how many fighters you have. And so they join them into down here in battle. So that's how the Chaldeans get involved here. So when it says Babylon was besieging Jerusalem, you have to understand that the army of Chaldeans were there as well. And Jeremiah, okay, this is good to put here. And Jeremiah, we know who Jeremiah is, so we really don't need this. Was not shut up, but locked. Whoops. I'm going to be just using this word, locked up or locked. And he really wasn't truly locked. It means, and you're going to see that in the text coming up here. Now, he was locked up in the court. Now, this locked up, and I have to put the word and guarded. Add the ED here. And why I'm doing that is because he's going to have this one guard is going to help him out later, but it just he's not really locked up in a court. It's like a courtyard, or is it a house? I think it was a house at this time, but I can't dismiss that it's the courtyard for the king yet. It has to be the courtyard. So I have to say it's like in the courtyard and guarded. Which is the house for our king. In other words, it's our king's courtyard. Our king. In the courtyard and guarded. In the house for our king. Okay, so that seems to be where he is located. Now, the only thing is I know the story very well, and I know that he's going to be put in a house and guarded. because that's what's going to happen in the story. Now here we have to notify the king. And I don't need this. We know who the king is. He was introduced at the beginning. And I don't know if he had him really. Well, I know he was locked up. I guess I'm just confused every time I read it that because it's not telling the story correctly in order. What had happened was that when he was in the house locked up, that the king wanted to talk to him, so he came to the king, and what happened was the king didn't like him, the advisors didn't like what he was saying. And when he was being sent back to that house to be kept under guard, they actually put him in the well that was dried out. It didn't have any water in it, and he was sent with muck down there. And then the guard told the king, and the king went and had him removed from the well and then locked in the courtyard, okay? So the story is missing a lot here. But I just want to make sure that you understand when I'm getting a little confused or what I'm trying to do with the text. Locked him up. Okay, so locked him up for, that's good. Oops. For, for, I'm going to put the word heralding because what a heralding is the prophet goes to the gates for the courtyard and he heralds, because the king's house is right across the street, by the way. He would herald out the prophecy from our Creator, and that way he's just not saying something. You understand the word heralding. Heralding. And then, now see, this is just like I said, heralding here. Now this is heralding. He was prophesying. So actually, if I get this out of here and not say why were you heralding, um, for prophesying, let me move this over here a little bit. A-N-G, prophesying. And now we're going to have the text of what he said. Prophesying this. Okay, now I don't need the word this. Prophesying says, I can get rid of this word. I have to copy this word, his name. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it small point, yellow, and put the name here. And I'm going to put it in yellow to show that I'm changing words here. Now here, Wavi is prophesied. YV prophesied. And because it's in the 10th year, and I know that Babylon has come down probably already, so I can't use the word behold. Well, I guess I'm about to give. About to give. It has to be Judah's cities. Judah's. And this way, we're taught, when I put this word in, this word is now describing all of Judah, what's going to be happening. So, yeah, that's right. Judah's cities. Or is it land? Judah's land. Here's the word Chaldeans showing up. And I guess it's them that are going to be battling are going to go from city to city. So I guess I can leave cities being okay. I can use two. The king or Babylon. We know who he is because it was introduced earlier. So I don't need to add his name here. But this here, he will take it. Well, of course, that's already been said. So when it says I'm about to give, very important there. The king for Babylon. And Zedek will not escape from, easier to say from than all the rest of these words here. Whoops. The hands, Chaldeans. Now, if I add the words, because what I'm looking for is I didn't see a 3-verse format happening here until I have to come up here and add this and then go use the word not as a main word. Most of the time, I don't have to use the word not or now as a main word, or even the word our, or no, what is it? Own. There are, so Zedek our king will not escape from the hands of the Chaldeans. He will surely be given. He will surely be given to the king. Let me grab for right up here and bring this down for Babylon. This I'm going to remove, and he will see his face. He will speak with him. I got to get rid of one of these. He will speak to him. I'm going to get rid of this as a captive because that is just too important here. Not to say that he's not a captive, because if he's going to be held or caught by these guys, and then he will surely be given to the king for Babylon. For he will speak with him as a captive. Now I think that's real good. And he will take Sadiq. He'll take Sadiq there. Now this is not true. I'm pretty sure he's gonna kill him because I know the Chaldeans kill his sons and his commanders that escaped from Jerusalem through a secret passageway out the wall. We'll take Zedek to Babylon. It's gonna be, how is this to Babylon? He will be there. To Babylon. Well, if I keep this word and live is replaced the word there, I guess would be better said. He will live. I guess if I change that, now I can add the word to, get rid of all these. Until I visit. Now he's going to visit Nebuchadnezzar, so it's not going to be Zedek. He's going to visit. So I can't put his name in until I visit them. So, whoops. Don't need this. Now this is almost like dividing a new subject here. But what is important here is this does fit a 4-verse format, or a format. If you fight against the Chaldeans, will not succeed. But that's hanging out there as, but it works. And I know that Jeremiah is going to talk to the king. Now the king's got him in the courtyard, that when he comes to the king and asks him about, what did YV say about me? Because the first time he really didn't believe everything he was saying, so it wasn't concerning. Now they're at his front door knocking and besieging. He's asking him what will happen. And I know he's going to have a conversation. So these words here might go in with the conversation that he's having with Zedek. So now I have to say that it's separate, and now I got to start a new story, I guess. And this is not good. Words from Ivy came to me. Now, this is for the first time. Came to me. Came to me. Came. The words. He's going to hear this in his head because he's in. Now he's back. He's can't be in the courtyard here because the courtyard, has a wall around it. Okay. And so the thing here is what's going to happen here. He's got his uncle's son coming to him. Okay. Now his uncle's son is coming to you and saying, so this story here is not going to be in the courtyard. Okay. So that's how scrambled the text is. So I got to get rid of all this. And I've already shortened up a guy's name, and that is the name. So I got to keep this the way it is. Your uncle is coming to tell you. Now, this is added, but that's by our creator. Our creator is speaking here. Is coming to you to tell. Okay, I had to read it a couple times. So this is our creator's words. Okay. Now, buy for yourself. Buy my field. So this is, I don't think he needs to be yourself here. Buy my field. I'm going to say land. He understands, his uncle understands Jeremiah is a prophet. So now what we have here is he knows that Jeremiah is not lying, that they're going to be taken out to captivity. He believes that Jeremiah is going to be left over with the remnant. He doesn't know if he's going to make it. So it's buy my land. Buy my land. The right to redemption. This means that if the land is reestablished, if he's holding on to this deed with his name on it, he gets to say that he now is the owner of the land. So, and then he gets to turn it over to whoever he wants to. Prophets are male virgins, so they don't have children. And what we have here is this. I have to put as by, and this is a city then. So, by or in. I know the story, so it's Benjamin, Benjamin. I don't think I spelled this right, so let's get it right. And so far, so bad. Okay, maybe it's close enough now. Oh, oh, okay. Benjamin just doesn't look right. Oh, no A. Okay, that's what's going on. Now this, I've got to make italic and in gray. I'm adding this. Now, for you to have the right of redemption, you need to buy it from me. So I think I got that finally right. Since I'm going to use this word, I'll just say it's mine. This was added. This was added. This I need to change to gray bold. You need to buy it from me. Okay. Now see, this is like I said, this is a different story, and you can see these two pieces are going to want to hook together, but this is this. Okay, well, wait a second. I was trying to find the grouping of the two Psalms, and what I need to do here is just keep editing and not worry about that. Do that later. That take a little time off the clock here. See, this can't be right. An uncle can't just walk into the king's courtyard. See, that's the problem. Because the king's courtroom or yard is his property, and nobody just kind of straight walks in here. So that's why I'm pretty sure this text is going to be changed. My uncle came to me. Now this doesn't need to be added here. And this doesn't need to be said. I don't think. He said, well, we have the word land. My land. There it is, in the land of Benjamin. So Get rid of this. Now that means that would be end of subject here. So by or Benjamin's. Yeah, it looks like this because these are going to be hooked together. So it does look like I need this verse here. According to YV. Yeah, I guess I'll get rid of these words here. According to YV, you said to me, buy my land by whatever in the land for Benjamin for you to have, for you to have the right of possession. And that seems to be reading out of order. I want to do this. Is yours. Wait a second. And by redemption, by redemption, it is yours. So buy it for yourself. Boy, my voice, I don't know what's going on with that today. And yours, I'm using as an important word here to keep to the format. So, and by redemption, it is yours if you buy it. Buy it for yourself. Okay, that's looking good. Going a little bit smoother than most times, but there's going to be like 40 verses here, so it's going to take an hour and a half or just to get through half of it. So then I knew, see, this is what I was confused about. This was from our words were from what I think he knows our creator's voice, so I don't think this was ever said or written by him. So I bought the field, I bought the land. Where is this land field? Right here. So I bought his land. We already know who he's talking about. And weighed out the silver for him. and he weighed out the silver. And Jeremiah is not going to walk around with a set of scales. They literally, each person had a scale on how to weigh out, so they had proper scales. They had stones that would say each of these stones or is a certain weight, okay? And then you put your silver on the other side to say that this number of a stone count is equal, that everybody else has these like stones that when you see them, you should recognize them by now. That's what we do for trading and living by. And then you put pieces of silver there for them to live by or to count it. And this has been going on since Abraham's time. The first time we learned about this is when Abraham bought the cave at the end of a field from a Canaanite for him to bury his wife. So this has to be he. So I bought the land for he weighed silver for him. And this is 10 and 7. And since we already have silver, they're trying to put in what it is known as shekels. They didn't have shekels, believe it or not. Now the silvers might have been made into coins they call them shekels, because you can make that as something common, I guess. But I only need this. Yeah, I was thinking, could I put shekels here and weigh out the shekels? Because what it's telling me is that they didn't trust the count of the shekel to be what is equal to. So they had to have the scale all the time. Just to let you know a little bit about back then in their day. And I signed the deed. This has already been done. Do we need a witness other than between them? So you got to remember, when this is being done, he has money on him that he's locked up in this house that I was telling you about. So the thing here is you can see that it was a different type of a lockup than most people would say. He had his money on him. He could talk to people walking by. So it can't be he's in the courtyard, okay? So I signed the deed. Well, we called it witnesses. Then I took the deed for purchase. I think this has to be, I took the deed for purchased and and sealed it. But we have to have what did he seal it in? And this, that's just added text. I don't think that's. Now see this here. Yeah, okay, here we go. So this guy is a scribe, okay, and he's a good guy. He's going to be around for a while. You're going to learn a lot about this guy. But we don't need all this. Don't need 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 this. I signed the deed. Then I kept the deed of purchase. And that made a group. So this here, now if he's in the courtyard, how did he get anything to seal it? So I'm thinking this is out. You can't seal it. He's gonna say then or later I gave the deed of purchase to Barich. And don't need this. So this is going to be the last. And I gave the deed of purchase to Barach, and I commanded Barach. It's almost like I need this verse here. And I gave the deed of purchase to Barach in the sight of my witnesses. So this is getting, hold on here. How did all these people get around them here? I'm going to have to say the word then here, though. This has got to be there. Because there's time's got to pass here, okay? It's got to be like he's later when he calls because our Creator tells them to rewrite the text, rewrite the words that the king had burnt. So that's who he is. He's going to be a scribe that rewrites for Jeremiah. So when you see some of Jeremiah's writings, you know this is the scribe who wrote the text. but he couldn't go get the witnesses. So, in the sight of his witnesses. Okay, now that sounds better. Like he brought somebody with him to get this. So he has to be an attendant to Jeremiah. Okay. So now I know he's a scribe, but he's also got to be an attendant to him. So he would have been coming back and forth to see him. This is playing out in my mind as to what is truthful or how these things can happen. Then I commanded Baruch. Take the deed and so it can't be played with, can't be looked at. Seal the purchase. I was thinking of, should I add the word my here? That doesn't seem to be. And seal the purchase. Okay, now we're getting to find out what he's doing. I was thinking this is to be opened, but that isn't good. And by putting not them, it. They're trying to make it like this deed is very lengthy, like today's court cases, purchases, and put it in. It has to be put the deed. Okay, putting the deed in a clay jar is what I want to say here. So this putting my deed. Okay, now I can get my in here by putting my deed in a clay jar. To last. So now what we have is the knowledge that it isn't on a scroll, a hide, I don't think, to last for a time. Oops. Because he's in somewhere to last for a time. Like till I get out, but go hide that, bury it someplace, come back and tell me where you hid it so I can get it in case you're gone. So here, because later after he's told about this reading, he no longer exists in the text with Jeremiah later, like after Babylon is gone. So This guy is only known to us at this time. This is in land. And this is going to be homes. Houses, I don't know, I've probably told a few times, but homes are where people live. Houses, I need as the word to say that they have attendants and other people, like a guy who's running a large estate. The king has a house, everybody else has a home, I guess I should say. Homes and lands. Gonna need that S there. Will again be bought in our, not this, I'm gonna put it like our creator would have promised land. And this is going to come from our creator, so, or was designated by our creator. Now it's kind of like that's a fourth verse. And this I'm going to copy. I got to move it again. For YV. For YHVH'S. This would have been one of his other prophecies that he's relating to. As prophesied. Homes and land. Has to be ours here. Our homes and lands will be bought again. So all this work, gone, just like that. Okay. Now it's going to say that after he did this, he prayed to YV. I'm going to say this is out. Well, this is pretty common. Like he's going to remind him about his name here. This is no. He's not going to say all this. He is not going to say this. That's just ridiculous. Now it might go in another text. I mean, another like when they were coming out of Egypt, that they would have said these words, but this he's not going to rehash. It is telling a long story, though, and it because the text keeps continuing, so it's almost like I know there's going to be a format in there, and it's going to hold up. So now I'm just going to make it yellow. I was thinking about carrying it forward to see if I would need this, but I'm just not seeing why he would say all these things. Now this is telling the story of what's going on at that time. Now see this. This is just, you know, at certain time, and like when I'm seeing text like this being added that I know that I can put a format in, when they first started taking the text and changing it to their God, that meant that that scribe knew the format and written it in the format to put it here. That's one thing. The other thing is, this is from another time and place. But I'm not going to save it to take it and put it someplace else. I know these words are there in other places. See this here, it's like the city, like Jerusalem will be given into the hands of Judea or Chaldeans. But they were among the Babylonians. I mean, when the army come down, what I'm thinking is that Babylon would agree that, yes, you can come down and fight with us, but they just got done conquering them, so they aren't going to they just made the agreement to be with them. So it's not like they're going to trust them. They're going to sign a small troop with them. Okay. So they're going to have multiple Chaldeans with them throughout the place. But you can't say that Babylon is going to leave it up just to the Chaldeans to conquer or to besiege Jerusalem. Jerusalem was the main city, so the commander of Babylon is not going to let them guys be the ones to say they won. So I'm thinking that this is kind of worded wrong to say that I'm not going to use this text. Okay? Because it's just not reading correct. I'm going to put it under a different color. And then if I absolutely need it, or if I find text that's of a story that I need something like this added to it. Because I'm thinking of the text above, I was saying that there's missing pieces here. So did they put that piece down here? Okay. Because of their swords and famine, no, swords, famine, and pestilence. And then this would be who are fighting against it because of their sword, famine, and pestilence. What you have said has come to pass before you see. I don't think so. But I know at this time that's what I'm looking for, is to capture all the things I might have left out the first time, or I'm going to say a year and a half ago when I did these. So now our creator isn't going to ask anybody, do you doubt me that I can't do anything I want to do? They recognized him as the creator. This is someone who doesn't understand our creator. Now, what's funny about this is exactly what's been said already above. I mean, almost word for word. In fact, probably could be word for word. So now here is what's unique. I don't think I've got them setting the house on fire yet. Which means the Chaldeans who are fighting against Jerusalem will that and not this. Enter and set. This has to be Jerusalem again. All the cities are going to get burned. So it's got to be those. So it's that's not going to be the Chaldeans here. Those who are fighting against Jerusalem, against. Wait a second, I don't need this. Who are fighting against. And I think I did this before by saying Judah's cities. Maybe I did do this text already once. Because this sounds like our Creator saying these words. Will enter them to set, who are fighting against Judah's city. It's got to be like fighting against Judah's city. Winter. And set them on fire. Will enter to the thing here is we're fighting against Jerusalem will enter and set Jerusalem on fire. This is not working here as a 3-verse. It needs to be done just right, and that's not, I'm not seeing it here. Streamed, okay. Now, if I get rid of this and try to say, our Creator's saying this, it'd be, see, your cities, they will enter. You know, this also has to be come down here against Judah. If I put this back up, the Chaldeans who are fighting against Judah. To set Jerusalem on fire and burn. It's got to be his house. Because if Jerusalem is on fire, that's already said that it's got to be their houses. So this has to be his house. Because our Creator's house is mainly made out of granite. The rafters are made out of wood. The walls around it are made out of wood, or inside the granite blocks. So, and burn my house. And the word burn pretty much means that it can't destroy it because it's made out of granite. So I understand the word burn. And if I do this, then Chaldeans. And the Chaldeans who are fighting. Not fighting, they're battling. Or warring. Babylonians and Chaldeans. Against. I got to put it that way. Who are warring against Judah and, oops, I got to use this and in your cities. They will enter and kill, then set Jerusalem. Enter them to set your cities on fire and burn my house. Okay, that took me a while. I guess well, that's what happens, I guess. Changing the subject so quick on me. People offered as this provoked me to anger. We already have this said in Jeremiah. Don't need it again. Because this is what this is about. But the only thing is, it's not needed here. Indeed, the descendants from Israel, descendants from Judah. That's a 4-verse. I can't get around that. Now, there is 4 verse in the text, so I have to correct this because I'm not sure if they're going to end up needing to be added together here. Sons from Israel. And the descendants from Israel and the descendants from. So this is going to be like a comma. This is going to be a period. Have done. I don't see this as being able to be completed here. Do I break it there to say here? They have only. That's what I need to do. I need to change the word only from here. That helps. Okay. Now only done. Well, in my sight. From young to old. I'm going to put oldest and youngest. Well, I might as well keep going. Okay, from their youngest to their oldest. Broken me to anger. That is okay. Like Israel. There we go. Like Israel. There's they too have 2. It's like I could do this because the word have works here. Have provoked me to anger. But I'd have to add this as gray text. Just saying that either that word or now let me get rid of that word and put here. Like Israel, they too have provoked me to anger. But see, this is a 3 verse, this is 4 verse. But this, could it be the descendants in Judah only done evil in my sight from their youngest to their oldest? Like Israel, they done. Okay, I'm thinking that's going to be what I'm going to do here. To make it a 3 verse, not a 4 verse, I'll get rid of this. The descendants or Judah. The descendants for Judah have only done have been doing now I got to get rid of this word and say this, get rid of this, and just say that's out. Have been doing have for a time been doing. I got to do it like that. And then the word time and doing works. The descendants for Judah have for a time been doing evil in my sight. From their youngest to the oldest, their oldest, like Israel, they too have provoked me to anger. Okay, I was trying to figure out how many different words I could use instead of the word to here. Not many, okay, and I don't think any of them fit as good as what I've got here. So now this is out. Whoops, not that kind of out. This kind of out. That is, in other words, they should have repented, but this is. Well, see, all this has already been said. I just got done cleaning it up. just kind of said a little bit different. So I wouldn't need that. Sorry about that. I didn't sleep a couple days ago, and I don't think it's all caught up to me yet. Okay, now this is going to continue from here. Their youngest to oldest, like Israel, they too have provoked me to anger. Their priest, their kings, and I guess judges would be a good word here, not so much as leaders. Their king, oops, I got it wrong. I put this, get rid of this. And judges. And they're prophets, and prophets are seers. How do I do this? There's priests. They're judges. Now up here I've got a 3 verse. So this is too much. This is getting taken down. This verse. They're kings and judges. Or Judah. Use this word Judah. Why am I ending? Well, I know you didn't see the intro to my this video, but let me show you some of that real quick here. So when I start these videos out, I have some things that are very interesting. Oops, this is one of them. This is, oops, this is the 1611 preface. That means it's the translators to the 1611 Bible wrote these words. And what they wrote, they had a few ways to edit the text. And one of them I find interesting is, by the light and feeling we have attained unto ourselves. Not that our Creator had given them insight. They also named Gregory as the divine, okay? A great clerk, Gregory the divine. Now, they use the word divine with a capital D, so Jesus isn't divine to them. Everyone can become divine because they can become gods. The thing here is this is Pope Gregory of 600 AD, I think, or something like this. No, it wouldn't have been 600. I don't know at what time he was a pope, but that's who they're talking about. But down here is very interesting. The first Roman Empire corrected the calendar and the order of the course of the sun with the letters S for capital Sun. That's giving reference to Ra, the sun god from Egypt. And we know in the Vatican courtyard we have a Egyptian obelisk. And if anybody could read the obelisk, they'd find out it's praising the sun god Ra. Now, what's unique behind this sentence that they they corrected the calendar to the order of a pagan god is that what calendar was all Rome under when they conquered Persia? Well, that would be before Persia was Babylon, and Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar, when he ended up eating grass, he turned around and said, Daniel's God is the highest God above all gods, and we're going to listen to him, and we're going to go under his calendar, and his calendar starts at the summer solstice. Now, what I'm editing, and here's a little bit of words from them. Lastly, the end and reward for studying thereof, that means the Bible, is to have a fellowship with saints and a participation of a heavenly nature. I don't think that's why you're reading the Bible, okay? But that's what they're telling you should be reading the Bible for. And you get a fruition of the inheritance of immortal, undefiled, that will never fade away. So what is all this crap that they're talking about and saying it's not about Jesus forgiving you to enter into his kingdom into heaven? Okay? That's one of the things that I put up. The other thing I want to show you is that when people actually study the text, there are 12 commandments, and these are the only place in the Bible that you can find the 12 commandments. Now, what's unique about this is that our Creator assigned them to bring a sin offering if they disobeyed any of these 12. These are 12 sins. There are only sins because our Creator defines these as a sin and needed a sin offering. So I don't know how many times you've heard that there is actually 12, but there they are. Now, when that is done, let's see, what do I have here? One more. If you change the word in Exodus 26:26, the word bars to arches, you now have a roof for the tent of meeting. And these are 10 cubics by 10 by 10. So when you see on the internet how they have this extra goat hides hanging roped down as like a second side to in the tent, that's because nobody has been able to decipher that this word is wrong, because when I counted every board and put every board together, that this text here meant the word arches, so we have a roof. Beams, I understand beams. The thing here is I'm putting it into understanding the words English today that we know for a roof needs rafters, is what we call them. But arches is what I would say here, because beams could be just laid right straight across. But example, I didn't find any boards for these that connect them to hold them so they're stable. So I had to add those words into the text that I've done. What I've done is our Creator's hidden formats in the Bible already. And they need rules. There are 3 to 4 rules that must be followed that become repeatable for everybody to find his hidden message to the world. Let me see if I can find some of the Psalms that I've done. Okay, let me grab one that's a little cleaned up here. This here Psalm if we look at it a little bit, you can see that I'm using one word here with a period. This is a subject, our creator. And then we have a comma and a period to make two, like a long verse. But this makes it's better to say these here, this first line here, makes, well, let me see here, what am I doing? Let me do this. Let me blow this up a little bit bigger. Okay, now you can see it and read it a lot easier. This verse, or this line right here, is a statement. And if you notice, I've got a comma and a period. So these two together make up what this statement, or tells us what this statement is about. It kind of refortifies it. And then it repeats itself. Now what these do right here at the top, this group here, I don't know how to, this group right here is a small paragraph. This group here is a small paragraph. Together they make a larger paragraph, so you see it spaced here. And then what happens is it repeats itself. So what you're seeing, oops, let me get rid of that. So, hi Johnny. I want to show you here Jeremiah that I've already done. This is the text, I've been doing right here in Jeremiah. And you can see, I guess if I pull it out a little bit farther, as you can see how many times I've got like a double space and I got a single space. That's how the text actually comes out. I'm not forcing the text to do these things, because just like now I'm seeing that I could have done a 4-verse format. And I know, let's see, 1, 2, 3, here's a 4-verse format right here. This is Jeremiah right now. I've done other books. But you can see here, I haven't went through and I haven't put a comma in a period and a comma in a period. But that makes a small paragraph. And this same pattern becomes a paragraph. And together they become a larger paragraph. And then that pattern repeats itself. These are the two formats that I've found that they wrote by. And I don't understand why they changed from one to the other. I was thinking that it's just the style of the writer that's writing, or the scribe that's writing these, or it got more sophisticated and gone to a 3-verse format. Yes, it's the Old Testament, Jeremiah's. And so what I'm doing is I'm going through all the books. There's only 24 books that I'm using to prove that the story of our Creator creating, well, starting with Adam and Eve and then going all the way to Jesus, I need a story. I don't need extra crap. Example, Songs of Solomon, they're just made up. These guys have added so much to the text that if you ever read what's called the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John, when you read them, they are way out of order. But when you read the other books, they're really pretty in order. But the only thing is, I don't need the other books to tell people about Jesus and what he done. Not many order. There's a lot of mistakes. For example, let me show you here what I've done as in the text. The blue is what I'm removing, okay? Now if I pull it out here a little bit, it's easier for me to go up pages to show you what's been done here. Okay, this is Jeremiah, and all that text in blue is got to be thrown out. But it's funny that I can find text like this, get rid of all that, and the story picks up exactly where this left off. And that's the uniqueness of what's going on here. So I will tell you that our Creator has made me see him 8 times. On my YouTube channel, in the description below on the YouTube channel, I have the path that our Creator has given me that says that other males from 13 years old and up can do at least 3 times for a surety. But you only really need to do this once of that path, and you will find that you will visit another dimension of time and space. You will witness those who have died from Earth that are still living in the afterlife, and you'll visit what is known as the abyss. Okay, language. From what language have been translated? The King James, they went back to the original manuscripts and the Greek manuscripts, because it was later written in Hebrew, or not in Hebrew, but in Latin and in Greek, I believe. And I think those are 2 different languages, but they went back to the originals. It was under the order of King James to do this. So, but what I've got here is the I got the 1977 NSAB, and that's because I have a concordance. This concordance I use, let me show you that. I don't have it up today, is a Bible program that no longer exists for everybody. And this is how corrupted the text is. If I click on the word witch here, over here on this side, it gives me their concordance. And what's unique about their concordance, they had to change a lot of the lettering to own the copyright. And then what they've done down here is they literally tell us how many times that the text here is being used. And you can see that the word here is, how did they come up with the word only, reason, steward, storehouses, and powder? Okay. Now, here's an example how corrupt it is, that they have the word so, and here's the Hebrew word for so, and yet down here, they're using the word so for this word 7 times. Well, the Quran isn't holy, okay? The problem with the Quran, and I've read it all the way through once, a second time I got probably 3/4 of the way through, but I'm realized that the names being used are not the names for what's used in the Bible. And by this, I will show you that Jesus, these are the first words I can find of Jesus mentioned in Genesis 17. And it's 6 when it's talking about from Abraham's seed kings shall come forth from you. Now, what's unique about this is when he's establishing his covenant. When you look in the Quran for the word covenant, it doesn't tell you what the covenant is. And yet down here, our text says the covenant is going to be made, and it's going to be pretty much promises. The covenant becomes many promises over time. If I go to Genesis 18:18, I find here, in him, who is him? A king, okay? All the races of the earth will be blessed. And we don't know what the word blessed means, except for that our Creator title changes to Lord, as the provider of our way of life, to keep extending the family life and with peace. So, okay, now when you're posting that much real quick, that you did some work there. But all the names, I'll get to that in just a second, all the names that are used, like Abraham, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, all those names under the covenant, these are promises for a king that's going to bless all the earth so we can go to heaven. In the Quran, there is no text that explains why you go to heaven. Now, example, in Psalms 40, 8, verse 2, we learn where heaven is located, and only in the New American Standard Bible. And that is, the words say, his Mount Zion is in the far north. Now, Mount Zion in the far north means the North Star is the top of the mount or mountain, because the stars move and their motion forms this natural mountain. Now, in Greek, they call this Mount Olympus. But the thing here is above the North Star is where heaven is located and where our Creator come from. In the Quran, they have no idea that our Creator's already told us where he is at in heaven. He's not in Mecca. So you don't need to turn to Mecca. You can turn to the North Star and talk to our Creator. He tells us that's where heaven is located. Now, knowing that, okay, all those names, that's the difference. Now let me see what you got here. This is because current biblical names, the Aramaic. Now, wait a second. On the Aramaic, that's not correct, as a lot of text. Where Aramaic is found is in Daniel. And when you read Daniel and you study all the words that are written in Aramaic, and you can go to my YouTube website and search Daniel and go through the chapters. And I would say if you start in chapter like 6, I think all the words from King Nebuchadnezzar were written in Aramaic by Daniel. So the text was written in Aramaic by Daniel to always explain to the people that it came from Nebuchadnezzar, that what happened, because it establishes why they were sent back to the promised land. So it's very important. Okay, for his name, let me see if, now I know there are some, let me explain one more thing about what the Greek words are. Example, I understand the translations, but the thing here is you've got to understand that there are Greek words as well as Aramaic in there, and only in little places erased out and put in, and that would be the word Pharaoh. Pharaoh is strictly a Greek word, okay? So we would have had the king's name of Egypt, but they put the word Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. See? So they replaced 24 times. So we would have known who these kings were of Egypt. Now, they also had a name for Jesus. And here I can show you that in Isaiah 38, verse 11, that if I replace his title, and I'll show you this in an example a little bit, that I put the original Hebrew word in. The text is saying, I will not see Yah in the land of the living. Now, this is written by King Hezekiah. I don't say the last part there. He's the king of Judah. Now, he's in the timeline. That is this king right here, okay? And then Judah's going to be taken into Babylon. But they're still waiting for Jesus to walk on the land and to be there, okay? And so what he's saying is using the word Yah here in the Hebrew text. Now, if I go to Psalms 149, and I can show you that his name, or this word Yah, is here 49 times. And they're saying it's the name of the God of Israel. What if I said the king from Israel? Okay? But when we go to the text and read it, praise Yah and sing to YHVH, this is here over here, a new song. The new song is at David's time. Nathan told David, through your son's seed will come a king, and his kingdom will be in heaven forever. And that verse only alone tells you why you are to enter into heaven. So then when it talks about praise him in the congregation, you have to understand what the congregation is. In the Sinai, when our Creator You can post it. I don't know if I'll look at it. I'm really busy. I'm in the middle of trying to rebuild a computer, or building my next computer so I can communicate with people better. I'm going to try to have all the Zoom and Skype and whatever it takes to talk so we can have a one-on-one conversation better. But this here is his name because it talks about the congregation is how they assembled around for the Passover of our Creator and being a celebration for 8 days altogether. So they align themselves as in the birth order to gather together as a congregation, as families, say Judeans, Benjamins, Ezekiahs, and stuff like that. This is when they're going to praise him at the Passover time for the simple fact that this is all about the promise been given to their family about them not having passing over their sons and them going to give them a king. And then it says, rejoice in their king and praise his name. Well, up here, praise Yah. So the word Yah is the Hebrew name they gave him, not what you're understanding, what's been told to you. So I hope that helps you out in understanding what I'm doing and answering some of your questions. So if you've learned something there today, please tell others to have them come and watch Prophecy in action, because this is Jesus's prophecy. When I say our Creator made me see him 8 times, that video about how to witness the abyss, dead, and talk to the dead as a proof of afterlife, and you have a soul, that is in that text. I tell you the path that our Creator has given me to say our Creator made me see him 8 times. Now, what you don't notice is you might have heard of the Illuminati. You might have heard of the conspiracy. Well, the conspiracy is mankind. And what I mean by mankind is that what happens here in, where is it? We can learn in Malachi, okay, that Judah the nation married the daughter of a foreign god. Well, what do you mean by married? And I'll tell you what they do. They sit in darkness, they meditate to have a sex, not sex, but a sex with the what is they call a so-called female goddess, because daughter, if he's a god, she has to be the goddess, okay? Now, this was done by all of Judah, the whole nation. That's why they get kicked out. So let me put here back to 100% and then show you Jeremiah's words here. He was calling her the Queen of Heaven. And if you take a screenshot, you can read this over, how bad it was. They were all over her city. Yeah, it seems like maybe when you tried to post that link, it's not giving it to you. So if you go to my YouTube site, I'm pretty sure I allow that there, and it'll post, if you connect it to my name. And YouTube, a lot of people don't understand that you have to put like the letter @ and then put my name with no spaces in it, and that will always draw the notification to me. Because if you put like a reply and don't put that in there, then I don't see it and I won't find it. So it's just something over YouTube a lot of people don't understand. So if you want to stick it there, I will find it under the comments when I look for them. But here he's calling her the Queen of Heaven. Now, what they're doing is, if I show you, so like Athena that we know that's in her temple there in Greece, this is Ra, the sun god. You'll notice it's tied around the crescent moon. And that's the crescent moon you'll see on the Islamic flags, that this female goddess appears. That's what it's all about. Here, they're trying to make Mary the female goddess. Okay. This is a Roman idol of a goddess that Israel has taken off the Mediterranean floor when they went to discover the uh, the oil down there or the gas down there. And notice she doesn't have a Roman nose. She more has a white person's nose. But what happens to a male under this practice, once a year, his maleness retracts like a animal inside his body. That's what you're seeing here. You'll see it in the zodiac signs. You'll see it here on the Vatican wall. This is in the corner of the Vatican. So that is the conspiracy, is that you don't know what mankind really means. This is a mankind. Okay, this is what happens to a female's rosebud when she has this same time of days for meditating with the female goddess. This happens once a year that this happens. That's what you might know as Halloweeny time, okay? If you look at the 2000 Super Bowl halftime on the internet, when you play this is the female goddess rising, but the song that they're singing is One Nation, Two People. And what they're doing is praising the female goddess, and nobody knows what's going on except for those that understand this practice. They can put it right in front of you. And that's what I'm taking out is their words. These are the ones who are editing the Bibles. So that's kind of like the longest explanation I can give to prove that when these guys wrote all these words in the preface, and I've got the 1611 preface in the video description on YouTube, that you can pull up the video or pull this up, and you'll see all my editing to call your attention to certain words. Because just like they call the Son of righteousness, and spelt with the S-U-N of righteousness in capital letters. So, but there's many more words, because in there I even have it highlighted about what they put into the text as Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit is a bubble that goes around their body. And it goes around their body on that crescent moon day all year long on a moon month. So that bubble, when I try to show people in the text when I start, where is this? Under news titles. Okay, the letter O was added to the Bible 1,096 times, where in the Hebrew there is no such letters as J, O, or W. So anytime you see words being used with this, you know it's been made up after the English letter J was added in, I think, the 14th century. But these letters don't exist in the Hebrew text. So that's why I try to explain to people that you can't use these words, but the best I can do is say this is as close to his name as possible, because the letter H sometimes is silent on the end if you study Hebrew text. So if you pronounce these two letters in English or in Hebrew would probably better, which would be Yahweh is how they pronounce. So that's what I'm using for his name instead of using the four letters. It's closer than anybody else has got that we can get back to knowing our Creator's name, or at least not hacking his name to death. Okay? But that O will be in the Bible where it says, "O God, O Lord, O Creator," where you would ignore the O and say, "O God, O Lord, O Creator." So that's the difference when you're reading the text and how to decipher who's writing what for who, because when I'm showing you this text in the first writer's formats, this is proving that the text is appearing, and that's what these videos are about, is to record history of why I'm editing the text like this. And this is my last time going over the 3-verse format, and then I'm done with it forever, because I've been doing this for 30 years, but I've decided to go on the internet now and put my case before everybody. I've tried to get a hold of so many people. I can show it to them. They see it. They don't want to talk to anybody anymore. They don't want to talk to me. But the thing here is there's a lot of people like yourself that come along, find it interesting, and when you start reading the text, example, in the YouTube, when you read our Creator's Hidden Formats, I've got that link there. I've just got done re-editing it. So that link is my latest edit on the text. But when you open that up, I think you have to scroll to like page 10 or something. And then what you'll find is Jesus' teachings. When you go into that text and start reading that story, that is so descriptive. It tells exactly where Jesus was pretty much at many times, when he actually talked and told each of the disciples to come with me. There's locations there around Galilee, Lake Galilee, that where he picked them up. It gets so descriptive that the last 7 days of Jesus in Jerusalem is before you in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. And then the day that he ascends and he says, "There's sending him back to," he's back in up by Galilee. That would be the 8th day for the order, but Jesus is not there. That's why I say 7 days. So then we have very little text of Jesus meeting with him and talking to the disciples. And in that, Jesus tells them that they're going to rewrite the text for their God. So in Matthew 5:20, Jesus tells us you're supposed to become more righteous than the scribes to enter my heaven, or enter in heaven. So the thing here is there's so much oversalted words. You can start editing the Bible yourself, and just say that, gee, this isn't reading right. For example, let's say that you're starting to read Matthew and you're going through the text and you're kind of like happy with the beginning of the text. And then when you get, I don't have that right now, but when you get to Luke, you'll find that there's a different genealogy for Jesus. So you can't really trust either one of them. So you just have to say, this is oversalted. I got to get rid of it because I don't want to be false. Because truthfully, you can't determine which one's right. So you have to get rid of the genealogy. So that's the kind of editing that you should personally be doing on your computer, just for yourself. And this way you're going to be getting closer to our Creator, because when you're actually speaking to him about editing a word or whatever, you're going to find the more you know, the more you're going to say, can't be true, this is true, this word's wrong, this is the other word wrong, needs to be corrected. Just like, I don't know if you were around when I showed you the word sin, okay? They've got Jesus not knowing what a sin is. He's saying somebody can sin against you, and our Creator said, if you don't obey these, is the agreement to stay in the promised land, or my kingdom, or my nation that I'm creating, and then later becomes these sins need to be forgiven to enter into heaven. Jesus should know those. So he can't be saying that take throughout our Creator's way of entering heaven to say, Jesus saying, from if your brother sins against you up to 77 times or something like that, you should forgive him. That just isn't true. Now, there's a lot of other videos in my YouTube description that you'll find interesting, like the location of heaven. I go through that. I tell you what Holy Spirit is. Jesus defines what Holy Spirit is. Jesus never walked on the water. That's an interesting text. But what you'll find is that there were whitecaps on the lake. But one of the disciples said, he is a ghost. And what do ghosts do? Okay, so he glided over the water. But the thing there is there's like 6 videos I think I'm posting that become very interesting as basic, easy, obvious that they're wrong. You'll find this when you do the text as well. There are 3 books that have the 12 disciples' names, and none of them are the same. And you thought that Matthew, Mark, and Luke knew each other. Well, they didn't, obviously. Here's the text. That's how corrupt the text is. They have different names here. Okay, so they don't. Because I've got a real good video called, what is it? The Test for Christians. Yeah, it's a simple test that 95% of the Christians fail. And the one question is, I ask the question, did Matthew, Mark, and Luke know all the disciples' names? And I'm sure everybody's going to answer that yes. And then I pull this up. I said, no, they don't, because here it is. Otherwise, they'd be right. And if you actually do a Google search or internet search, you'll find 12 names that don't match any of these either. So much is being made up. But today's world, when there's the computer, everybody should be taking at least Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John onto the computer and editing it themselves. I think that's one way to get closer to our Creator. I guess I should tell you this quick story. When I was at work, I told a guy who had actually grew up in a church that this church was called the Church of Nazarenes. And what they did is they hired and fired preachers to come in and preach. They were controlling the priest, so he didn't have his own views saying other things that aren't true in the Bible and making it up. Such as you can see, the prophecy of Israel right now is happening, the end of the world is happening right now. They don't allow that. He ended up teaching from like children's gospel stories after to the group of children that would be there, and then went farther. He was so high up that he ended up being the guy to hire and fire the priest, controls all the money for their gathering. And I told him one time that I says, you got to stop reading the Bible. It's so corrupt. He just looked at me and laughed. He says, what do you mean by that? I says, well, example, how did Abraham, how did everybody talk to our Creator before they had text? And he just looked at me. I says, yeah, they talked to our Creator. So I'll tell you what you do. You go up and you time yourself with a clock and just start talking about our Creator and how much you know about our Creator. And after a while, you're going to start finding yourself as repeating your words. Well, stop the clock and remember that time. Now, don't read the Bible anymore. I want you to go to bed, and every time you go to bed, before you fall asleep, talk to our Creator for 15 minutes. Just talk to Him. Just one-on-one talk to Him. And after 3 months, repeat this test, and you're going to be surprised. He came up to me a month and a half later. He says, Mike, I couldn't wait that long, but I had to time myself. I timed myself, and I can't believe it. He says, my time more than tripled. He says, I realized when I got done looking at that time, the only one that could teach me that is our Creator. He's the one that taught me more about him. And I says, congratulations, how does it feel to be like Abraham and Noah and the rest of them? And he just laughed. He says, I can't believe that. He says, that is the best teaching about our Creator I've ever heard. But try that as well. You'll be amazed how our Creator wants you to know him. So AC is getting a little, I'm down here in Florida, so it's a little warm down here for me. I got to turn that AC up a little bit, or down a little bit. Okay, John, I guess I will, Johnny, I don't know how you want your name pronounced, but I've got to get back editing. I've only got that much to go, and I'm done with 30, and then I can go on to 33. But what I am doing, I guess I forgot to say that to you, I'm putting all these pieces together and will be one book. So, and it will be in order for everybody to see and read. So let me close some of these things down. I need to put up a thing so I can cut this out of the video later when I edit it. So what I'm doing with this is just something that it'll pop up when I see it on the screen and I don't have to look for the last spot. But okay, that'll show up when I edit this video. Okay, now I got to review here a little bit what I've done. Okay, these are going, this is a continuing of this story here. For the time been doing evil in my sight from their youngest to oldest, yes. Their kings and judges with this would be with, I'm going to say men with, it has to be man because you've seen the text, it's got to be reflecting male and female. I'm using our Creator's definition for man, with man in Judah, and I'm going to put, this usually can be referred to as races. There are many people there celebrating and coming to establish the Ra, the sun god, and the female goddess. And so here I can put mankind in Jerusalem. But they have turned back to me. They turned their, oh, they're back, I see. They have turned back. It has to be backs. Like I'm rejecting you. So I have to say something like, they have rebelled against me. And taught their teaching again and again. And again, they would not listen. or you can't say they're going to receive his instructions, his prophecies, because those prophecies are the instructions for them to repent. And it's probably going to have to be my prophecies. But if Jeremiah is writing this, it would have to be changed if he's talking to people as his prophecies, but or understand, not receive, but understand. Oh, got to finish the word. Understand my prophecies. So I think like this, and this will be all by our Creator, but I'm not going to do that yet. And they have turned their what they're doing is they're rebelling against him. And I'm going to try to, this and this verse seem to be hooking together. So that's what I'm looking for here is these two to be together. They have, I'm going to have to say who these guys are, and I'm going to say priests. And it's got to be their priests. And their priests have rebelled. What you see here, that when you see the word like rebelled or turned back, these are two Hebrew words together, and they'll be in order. And what they do is use two other words and say, when you look it up, it'll be that way. I just don't have the concordance hooked up here today. So have rebelled. I'm going to say two again. To rebel. Oh, if I get this, it's all colored here. But maybe that's not the right word. To rebel. If I put my here, my face. Well, it's not like that, so it's clean. I'm just changing this letter to rebel to my face. And taught them their teachings. And this is how to meditate, to have sex with a so-called female goddess. If at this time, colleges are requesting everybody, or mandatory, to study mythology. And that is just trickery of words, such as Athena pop forth from Zeus's forehead, meditating. And and taught their teachings. Again and again, they would not listen to my prophecy. So this means that this hooks together, and this is the one that's really, oops, a couple spaces between. Yes, because here, what they're doing, they put their detestable idols or their gods' images. And put their gods. I don't know if that's going to divide here correctly. And so I got to find, where did I add the word priest at? Okay, yeah, okay, here, because the priests are the only ones that can do this. So I got to have that in order here. So that's, wow, that did really good. Usually I put priest here, or even here I could have put it, but it came out there. Perfect. So again and again, they would not listen or understand my prophecies. I'm not going to put it here. I'm going to put it here. So they put their gods and their images in my, no, that's not right. You got to understand the construction of his house. Construction of his house is, oops, is there's only a 20 by 20 cubic place that is called his meeting room, where he appears to the priest. The other 20 by 40 cubics is all the utensils that are used for the atonement process that they'll use. They also had hung up their robes, because they had put their robes there and go home down in Jerusalem and then return, put them on there. They had their horns there. And I don't know how many other things, but there's more than that. I know they've got a few other things. My house. In my house, not which, where. That's what I was getting to. Where they did this. Where they call to me. Wow, that's really weird, because I could tie that to that verse. By my name they defile me. By no name they defile me by my name they defile me and build altars. A high place is known as a place where they're going to go to honor and respect their gods. So it's an altar that they start with. That actually what they do is on that altar they kill the animal and then they roast it and celebrate. Okay. So built altars. Baal is not the god's name. The god's name is Ra, the sun god. So let's correct that. Of, not of, but for. So it has to be Ra's, because you got to remember, they think the stars are them achieving their way into heaven. Okay, they become a god by becoming a star. So the ones that are roaming have God's names on them, and the Vatican hasn't changed those God's names. God of War, I don't know what the other ones are, but Mars. They have built altars and pillars. And these pillars they would have on the street corners and things. That's how bad it got. And on top of these pillars, they would put their god or goddess image. It's just to let you know how bad it did really get there. And okay. Now, see, they didn't do this. That is oversalted words because that's their meaning for their gods. So, in other words, it taught them how to get through the fire, not that they went through the fire to Molech. Okay, so that's when you read this, you have to read it that even today they're correcting it to be the correct way of saying it. They passed through the fire to Moloch. Okay. Now this, he did not command nor it entered in mind. But it doesn't connect to this correctly. I did. And this would be our Creator speaking. I did not command them that they should do this is evil abominations. So I have to, that's the truthful word here. To cause, now I'm going to put Judeans here because I got to say I don't even know if I got that spelled right. I don't think so. Yep. This has to be meaning the people there, the good ones, or every one of them. So to cause Judeans to sin. And this is where the word Jew comes from, is Judeans. And I can't use this word, that they should do evil abominations. For Judeans to sin. Now, Judeans, when you're saying, well, who are they? And I'm trying to tell you that these are not everybody. Those that are onto our Creator are still Israelis. So when you read my words that are in here, that's the good guys. When I'm starting to put the word Judeans, these are those that I could have put the word Jews here. But Judeans are the ones that are, I'm going to say, are like the unbelievers to sin. So maybe I should just put it as unbeliever. Whoops, where did that go? What am I doing? I wanted to recreate this and put that's a better way of me saying it instead of saying Judeans and have to explain it's for these guys, the unbelievers, to become their believers. So that's better be saved. Well, see, this is changing subject here. This is coming back together someplace else. This has been said so many times, but I guess I have to re-edit this as well. It has to be your cities. You, whoops, this is blue. You concern your cities. This has to be they. They are sane. They're sane. They will not be given to the king for one by sword and whoops. and famine. So this has to go above. This has to be corrected. This was it has to be prophesied by YV. So I got this, 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 this. Now this was prophesied by YV concerning your cities. And then this is what he's announcing to them. So these can't go in all purple. Given to the king for Babylon by sword and famine. Now, this is kind of hard because where's this text or story going? Because he should be saying, I'm going to send them to the other land. Well, I'm finally thinking I've got YouTube down. I haven't gotten a warning or a message now for quite a while. Finally got the bit rate settled to go on YouTube and Twitch. That's a game. You can't behold because he's going to gather them, so they're going to be dead. I will gather them. Who are them? They are captives. Or the exiled. The exiled. It has to be from all the kingdoms. Where that which where to where I have sent them. Now, in my anger and wrath, don't need this. The format's there. I will bring them back to this land. to live. Now, safety is a hard point here to say that. To live. I guess I can use the word safely. I'm just thinking when the Romans come around, they were crucifying them. It really wasn't safety around them. But I guess that would be those that are evil. They wouldn't, but those that are the Israelis that are believing our Creator, they would be living safely. That's part of His blessing. So but it's hard to hear to say always, like I was just saying here, that not all of them are going to be safety. And yet they will all be my people kind of sentence. How you doing, Roy? Good to see you stop by. I'm trying to actually find the first writer's formats that were written by the first writers. So let me do a quick showing here of what I'm doing. That's a 4 verse. This text, let me kind of blow it up a little bit. What I have in a 3 verse format is a statement. This is a statement. And then these two connect together to make a longer sentence, but it's is telling us what's going to happen by this statement. Okay. This makes a small paragraph. Then this is going to repeat again, this pattern, and it's going to make a small paragraph. But together, they make a larger paragraph. And then I put a double space between them, and it repeats again. And then these two are grouped, and so on. These appear when I'm doing this, looking for the format. Well, thanks for the comment, because actually it is prophecy. You're seeing prophecy in your day. In YouTube, I have description that one is called the afterlife, self-proof of afterlife. And that's where I tell you how our Creator made me see Him 8 times. And He has shown me proof Jesus existed and or still exists. And I am here with the knowledge He's given me to throw out the crap. The crap is mankind. Mankind meditates to have a sex with a so-called female goddess. And why I say mankind is because this is the Illuminati, the conspiracy, that once a year a male's maleness can retract inside his body. And you might have seen this image before. It's in the zodiac sign. So that's what this is about. This character here is on the Vatican wall, and you have an Egyptian obelisk in the Vatican courtyard. I'm getting rid of these guys, okay? In fact, a lot of things have happened since 1995. I approached them on a website that had a great big message board. YouTube had a great big message board at that time when there wasn't even 10 million web pages out. Like 300 comments a day were going on it. And it was on a Buddhist board, and I challenged them to whether how much they knew about their god and goddesses, and they all lost. And when I told them to do what I'm saying in that video that I've told you about, they had 2 men actually be redeemed by our Creator and have witnessed Him redeeming him. So they are saying, our Creator made me see Him. And things have changed. Example, if I'm telling you about weird people that you don't know, well, I'm sure you've heard of the X-Men. Well, the X-Men are the guys that have left because they know our Creator exists. And then you have them fighting with those that, no, you don't know what you're saying. We still believe in our female goddess. So that's in the movies now. If you go into a drugstore today and just go to the aspirin aisle and look at the letter X as a first dominant font or a second dominant font, you'll find almost all the aspirins have the letter X in it. In fact, you're going to have a hard time finding one that doesn't. And it'll be shocked because you're going to see like 20 different products. And then once you see that, start looking around in your store and look at how many products that we have with the letter X. So they've really changed, and they are now the good guys helping the humans. So, but there's this battle going on, but this letter X is been run on their TV 1 month before and a little bit after Halloween time. But it'll be running again at before the month of March. So don't believe it as fact. I believe that there are no gods. No. I'll tell you what, in that video that I've got on YouTube, self-proof of afterlife, this is safe enough for a 13-year-old male to do. And what I do is I'm sending you there because what you're going to do is you're going to have a self-proof that there is life after death. You will have self-proof that you have a soul because your flesh isn't with you when you're there. And where you're at is nothing but deep black nothingness, emptiness. Our Creator calls the abyss the deepest, darkest prison ever. So it's more or less a prison and what you're going to do is you're going to be a being that just floats around. And I tell you in that video how to prepare yourself so when you're there, you can act like a god to become like them. And as long as you have a strong will, you can just point and say dog, and a dog is going to appear. Say cat, cat's going to appear. You're going to have that witnessing of yourself. I also tell you not to challenge them because when they come and meet you and talk to you, you're going to find they ain't moving their mouth. They're telepathically talking to you. And they'll tell you they are the gods. Okay? Now, long ago, they believe that they're going to become a god or a star in heaven. In the Bible, it's called the hosts of heaven. Okay? So that's why the planets are named after gods. They didn't name all the stars, but they're all after gods' names up there. So even the zodiac will say that we're gods. This has been going on before our Creator flooded the earth. So let's see. See, the beings that are out there that you're going to run into, example, they do this. This is how they like to die. They sit in meditation, and what they'll do is that there's a bubble that's going to go around them, and then they're going to force that bubble out through the top of their head. Some of them can really, the gods can pounce. Satan is my one and only ally. Well, let's put it this way. actually, you can see Satan. You can call out for Satan when you're there. I even tell you what Satan looks like. Okay. Satan is so beautiful, you won't recognize him whether he's a male or female. Guaranteed you. Go ahead, call out for him. They'll talk to you about him. Plain and simple. I have no problem with this knowing what Satan looks like. I mean, I've talked to him more than once. I've seen him probably 4 or 5 times. So, and if you ever heard of people being possessed, I've seen people, I've been with only one person, he become possessed and Satan was talking to me. Yeah, it's kind of weird because all the things out there that we were driving around on the road, that type of thing can't happen without control of everything. But Satan is the one who is deceiver. But to understand that practice allows you to have self-proof that you're going to live after you die is one of the greatest experiences you're going to ever exist. Now, the thing here is I gave warnings that, like yourself, who doesn't obey our Creator, if you start fighting those gods out there, you're going to find out they're going to kill you. And I tell you exactly what they're going to do to kill you. Because if our Creator wants to redeem you, he's going to show you, pull you up to himself. And he will show you, he will be, or he shows himself as a white light. Let's see, in religions, the Taoist, they know at a certain day, every 2 years, at a certain time of the day, that when they're meditating, they write it as a bright flash and their eyes open, meaning they return back to here. If you look up the words navel of creation, that's the way the people here in the United States are writing it, and maybe not writing it anymore. But they had proof of our Creator. That's why the black yin and yang is with a white light. They are meditating out there, they see the white light, and then they're back into the living, land of the living, the yin side of the yang. So when I say that this letter X has gone around the world, that's because the Taoists now have taken that repeatable path, and our Creator made me see him. And when they see our Creator, who I say is brilliant purity, that's when they see bright flash, they know they have been witnessing our Creator for thousands of years. They just didn't know it. So, but there's a lot to learn about life. Life has many different levels, like a game. And what I'm telling you about them today, you've just now got to level 2. You've opened up the door, you're here, and now you know about all these things. I can't lie, because if I lie, I ain't going to heaven, and that's not no. I know our Creator exists. I don't have a belief. Our Creator made me see him 8 times. There's no doubt about it. My life, when I was at work, I was telling people so much about what would happen today, tomorrow, and up to 10 years from that day, so many times that the people were starting to call me or gathered around me one day and asked me if I'm going to proclaim myself as a prophet. So I would literally walk up to one guy and shake his hand. Every 3 years, I was telling him what his job was going to be in 2 months. I just can't do that on my own. So a lot of these things, I would tell them what's going to happen in the newspaper tomorrow. Things like that it would come up, and they'd look at the paper, they'd all kind of like, we heard him. He said this was going to be right here. So my life is here to tell you the truth of what he's given me. And if you do that video, you will know that your life will be, you'll go from level 2 to level 3, just like that in an instant. You might even go to level 4 once you come back and say, wait a second. I just visited another place in space and time where beings exist. I mean, when you wake up, you're going to have a lot of new thoughts that you've never, ever thought of before in your life. And you'll know that it's real. That's the weird part. Example, you have a hard time remembering what you dreamt when you slept. You're going to be over there for probably 4 hours of our time on Earth, but it's only going to be probably equal to about an hour, and you're going to remember everything like it just happened here on the living, that you would know exactly how to sit there and write down everything what happened to your life in the last half hour, 45 minutes. That's what's going to happen to you. So, and I've had a lot of atheists here, by the way. They do stop by, and then they don't really come back. Although I think I still have 2 atheists that are followers on Twitch. So they might be stopping by back from time to time. And so enjoy your day, by the way. Back to this land to live in safety. This is not really true truth. This is not being said correctly. And there's so much here that's wrong to be said correctly. I'd be making it mine. I'd have to do way too much to this. See, they may fear me always their own good, but we know that they fell away. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Jews killing Jesus. And he's not going to make an everlasting covenant again. That's not true. That's oversalted words. And that's not, this is, goes with above. Now, this is about the good returning there. This would be about Jesus coming back, or living in the land of the living. So this is all kind of goofy here. This has been said above, and I did that text, so I didn't have to go far to find that. And this, no, is not connecting with anything. So I ended up finding some text that's really clean, looks good, so let me clean it up. And then for those who I told that you'd have a screenshot to do, because I'm a little behind the times here, I will try to be somehow getting PDFs to you. I'm thinking that I should try to get another email address and open up a Dropbox. And then everybody can go to the Dropbox. It'd probably be easier to update than going onto my website. Website used to be easy. Now they're forcing me because everybody's got a cell phone. Yeah, I've been around that long. That they want everything for the cell phone people. In my old easy HTML writer they don't allow. So then this was 1, 2, and this is a group. This is 1. This will be 2. Whoops, I'm going to need this word. I'm just going to go through and clean it up so when you take the screenshot, it should be cleaned with a little editing like that being taken out. Okay, that's going to hook together. This is going to be a double space, single space, double space. Where is it at? Right here. Now this I was saying is text that just didn't read anywhere, that just didn't hook to anything. And then this is a new story, so yeah, this is what I said. This had a, like the beginning of this is missing, like what time and what king did he say this at? That's 2. This will be 1. And this is the style of this guy's writing right here. This guy writes that this is the end of the story and this is the beginning of the story, and it's almost, it's like starting 2 different stories, but it's going together. He's got a very good writing style, and very unusual. Usually they connect, like the last word connects to the next sentence. And there's that space that goes forever and then it connects together again. Well, maybe not. So let me put a separation here. 1, 2, that comes up. And those get connected. 1, 2. 1. And then 1. And then a different story. And all these are going to be our creator's words. So I should have done that a little bit more often. But these are his words. Yeah, I think that's enough, but that's what a lot of this has to be done. Now this is starting another story, but it's 1, 2, then this has to be 1. Whoops, where'd it go? 1 right there. Yeah, and that's end. That's the end of the story. Whoops. But that come out pretty good. That's the end. So now these are all our creator's words, except for these. This is how he's gonna introduce the prophecy. And there's a lot more words than I had yesterday, or the last one. I only had this little group here after all that work. But I'll say go ahead and take a screenshot. I count to 5. Then what I do is I'll highlight this so I know what you're getting. Okay. All right, that's going to be it for the this afternoon. And that was a little longer. That was 3 hours and 15 minutes, 17 minutes. Well, that really wasn't that bad for as many people as I talked to today. So I'll leave this on the internet for about a week, and then I will update it after I get time. So I'm going to call it an end for right now, and I will see you later today for the second one I do. Have a great afternoon.